Yes, people are very concerned about their wages, credit, stocks, and money. Given this, what could be more relevant than Article 1, Section 8, which states, Congress shall have power to coin money and regulate its value. Section 10 then goes on to say that no state shall emit bills of credit or make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. The meaning is clear. Gold and silver, when coined, are the only things that are money. Regulate its value? What does this mean? It means Congress is charged with the responsibility to run a quality control check on all weights and measures which allow money to be counted, thus valued. How can you ethically value money unless you can ethically count it? That said, most people don't realize that a dollar is a unit of weight, like a pound or an ounce or a ton. In the U.S., a dollar is the unit of weight of pure precious metal in coin form. Thus, $1 of silver weighs 0.77 troy ounces. In the early 1900s, $1 of gold weighed 0.048 troy ounces. Given the real definition of the word dollar, it's easy to see what the Constitution is talking about when it charges Congress with the responsibility of maintaining the value of a dollar in terms of honest weights and measures. But today, people, and even Congress, misinterpret the original intent of Article 1 in other ways. They think it's Congress's job to maintain the value of the dollar by adjusting interest rates or adjusting the money supply, what's known as an elastic currency. An elastic currency is blatantly illegal per Article 1. Congress has no authority to allow the Federal Reserve Open Market Committee to adjust interest rates. Only the free market has the authority to adjust interest rates through the billions of individual transactions made by hundreds of millions of citizens. Thus, the cost of money, the interest rate, should be valued by the free market, not the Federal Reserve System.
They can fix these prices of gold to dollar and pretend they're not inflating and fudge the figures on the CPI and the PPI, but eventually the market understands it. So even in a system like the Soviet system, there was always a black market, and the black market is the real market. So the more government you get, the more black market you get in order to figure things out. But it does take a while to sort all that out. But long term, the market is smarter than all the regulators and all the planners are in government.
Free market capitalism means regulation by the free market, not by the government. So long as the Fed regulates the money, it is impossible to have free market capitalism, because money is the only commodity that represents every product and service in the economy. To regulate money is to regulate every product and service in the economy. Thus, to scream for more regulation when the economy melts down, or to chastise Alan Greenspan for his free market ideology, is a straw argument.
Dr. Greenspan, I'm going to interrupt you. The question I have for you is, you had an ideology, you had a belief that free, competitive, and this is your statement, I do have an ideology. My judgment is that free, competitive markets are by far the unrivaled way to organize economies. We've tried regulation, none meaningfully worked. That was your quote. You had the authority to prevent irresponsible lending practices that led to the subprime mortgage crisis. You were advised to do so by many others, and now our whole economy is paying its price. Do you feel that your ideology pushed you to make decisions that you wish you had not made? In other words, you found that your view of the world, your ideology, was not right. It was not working.
Precisely. No, that's precisely the reason I was shocked, because I've been going for 40 years or more with very considerable evidence that it was working exceptionally well.
Since no free market has ever existed in the U.S. since 1913, the year the highly regulating Federal Reserve System was established, it is foolish to blame the 2008 credit crunch or stock market meltdown on a lack of regulation. Totalitarians do this only to further their globalist agenda and destroy the idea of a real free market capitalism.
The gold standard, in my judgment, is the right standard to have. The problem with it is this: there is no gold standard which is going to bind politicians and prevent them from creating dollars. As they create the dollars to pay for wars and other things, then people realize that the dollars aren't that valuable and they come for the gold. And in other words, politicians will inflate the currency regardless of a gold standard. And we have found that gold standards collapse because politicians do things to make it to collapse.
But you can't print up gold or silver. Gold and silver take human effort to acquire. Thus, the supply of money can be regulated by the price of gold and silver in the free market. On the other hand, money based on paper with no ties to gold or silver can be endlessly printed up, thus regulated not by the free market, but misregulated by the state. With this kind of money, bills of credit, the government can print up as much money as it wants, thus watering down everyone else's money. We call this loss of purchasing power when it happens, and it has happened plenty. It now takes 100 pennies to buy what only 5 pennies could buy back in 1913, the year the Federal Reserve System was established.
Where does Congress get most of its funding?
I would like to say from us, but I'm sure they have foreign investors that they also get their money from.
They print it.
And can you elaborate on that?
They have no funding. They have no money. It's all puff and mirrors. They have no money. It's all an illusion. There's not much in back of it.
The dollar has just gone down precipitously, much faster now. So the dollar of 1913 probably is worth about 3 cents today. And even today it's going down rapidly. So as the dollar lost its backing, slowly but steadily between 1913 and 1971, government did grow. But since 1971, all you have to do is look at the total obligations of the government financially, the debt that has been accumulated, the powers accrued to the government, and they keep growing.
Ironic that Alan Greenspan, before he was co-opted as chairman of the banking cartel, wrote, quote, "In the absence of a gold standard, there is no way to protect savings from confiscation through inflation. There is no safe store of value," end quote. Today, judging from his book, The Age of Turbulence, Alan Greenspan seems to believe in free markets for every product, service, and commodity, except for the one commodity that's most universal: the cost of money. That is, interest rates. Whereas the free market should regulate everyone else, only the Open Market Committee at the Federal Reserve should regulate the cost and amount of money. And this regulated money should be forced on American citizens.
You should have free market principles apply not only within the marketplace of cars and gadgets and widgets and whatever else, so that the good will survive, so that people can do good and do better, so that the best will, so competition can produce a healthy environment where people keep improving their product, but you should have the free market within banking.